Hello, welcome to my pitch of my FMP. My name is Alejandro, you can call me Alex, I'm a third year student. So, what is Blip? Blip is going to be an FPS platformer single player. It's going to be mostly about action, adventure with some elements of comedy. If I could describe my game in one phrase, it would be run, shoot, and don't fall. You will be playing as an experiment who has just awakened inside a random facility controlled by a robot. This robot will test you to see how successful of an experiment you are, and throughout the game there will be multiple challenges which you will have to face. The main priority is to complete all levels or escape from this facility. My target audience is above 16 because I am planning to have strong language. However, for the visuals of my game, they won't be really strong, so that will be fine. Moving on, the idea. This idea came from the games that I used to play when I was around 12. I used to play Prince of Persia, like the whole saga. I loved it. I thought it was a great game. It was full of action, platformer stuff, and all sort of traps. And also Modern Warfare 2. This was literally my first FPS ever, and I believe it had a great impact on me. So one of these days I was thinking about these sort of games, and I was like, what would it be like if I was able to run through walls and shoot at the same time? And then along with it, I got the idea of swinging around like Spider-Man from playing Spider-Man. So mixing these two games, it will equal my game. Titanfall 2, it will be sort of similar, but again, not this, but similar. Moving on, inspiration. These games, I believe, there will be a great influence within my production, as I'll be using them as inspiration for visual references and my environment. For example, Portal 1 and 2, I love the simple setting they have. You are able to tell what you have to do, and also it has some puzzle elements that I would like to implement in my game. Cyberhook also is a great game. As you can see, this game has a lot of life due to the amount of neons and colors it has. And I want to use this as an inspiration for my sort of neons in my game. However, I do believe that it has a bit too much going on the screen. And I don't want that sort of thing on my game, as it could affect some players. And in that aspect, I will have to balance it out. Moving on to Satori. I don't know if I said that right. Satori. Yeah. The main thing about this game is the simple colors they use on the environments. For example, the color they use like a red bright color for the walls. The platforms are white and blue. These colors are easy to read and differentiate, and it will make it easier for the player to read. Also, you can see the other sort of environment obstacles are around, and you can see that they are like sort of grayish, like gray color, and they don't really stand out that much. So the player will be able to tell where you have to go and what you can interact with and what you can't interact with. Also, the camera effects in this game are great, and you can really feel the momentum around with these camera effects, the post processing that it kind of has, everything. So I'm gonna be using that sort of to push my camera effects. Next game is GTTOD, Get to the Orange Door. I am mostly interested in this game to create my setting and visuals. I love the way they use a different type of neon with different emission levels. So as you can see, like on the side, they have like barriers that are still using like neons and stuff, but they're not really bright. They're more like subtle. And in comparison to guns or like walls that you have to run through, they are like very bright. For example, this enemy here, like the enemy emission levels and the sort of brightness that it has, you can like really differentiate him and the background, and it's really easy for the player to see the enemies. So yeah, I really want to implement that. Also, I love the guns. I love the way they've made the guns. So I'm probably going to be using that for my art. And then lastly, refund. For this game, I'm using it as inspiration for the environment. As you can see, they use like a very simple, subtle, cubistic art, and I would like to implement that in my game. Also, the lighting I think is great. And yeah, these are my inspirations. Then next, we go into the gameplay. The gameplay is gonna be the key thing of my game, like any other game. Gameplay will be full of puzzles, movement will be key, and shooting. For the puzzles, as I mentioned before, I'm using Portal 1 and 2. They have like they are like mainly focused on puzzles. However, I don't want my game to be that influenced by puzzles. Like I will have simple puzzles just for players to be able to access different areas and also to have more of a challenge. However, I don't want my player to get stuck in a specific part of the game just trying to figure out what he has to do. I've had that experience in the past where I actually have to look for a tutorial to be able to proceed to another level. I don't want that sort of thing on my game. So it's just gonna be like grab a cube, bring it here, put it in a pressure pad, boom, door is open, or similar things. Try to find a key code between these cubes, similar things like that. Just simple. Then moving on to movement, it's going to be a platformer, so movement is going to be key. There's going to be a lot of traps, and you are going to be able to wall run, which means you're going to be running on jumping between walls, things like this, to dodge specific areas, or to move forward on the game. And then moving on to shooting, shooting is going to be a key part. In this game, you're either going to be able to use your movement to dodge all the bullets and just try to get away without having to confront your enemy, or you will have to fight your enemy. And for this, you will have specific kind of guns that will matter on the range, power, things like this. You can either play from a large distance, or you can get close to them and then play with a shotgun. I don't know. It will depend on the player. Objectives of the game. Sorry. Objectives: escape from the facility, complete the test slash levels, and survive at all costs. Yeah, pretty simple. Game features: there'll be enemies. There'll be more than 3 types of enemies. These will be range and melee attacks. The gameplay style will vary between these, as you will have multiple gameplay like routes that you can decide to go on. For example, you can either just like get a shotgun and play like close range attacks, things like that. And then also there will be a lot of traps on the game, which then again movement will be key and you will have to dodge. These traps will vary between lasers, wrecking balls, pits of lava, slash spikes, turrets, you know, there'll be all sort of things. Then grappling mechanics. This is going to be also key on the game. Again, you will have a grappling gun. This will allow you to be able to swing around like Spider-Man, literally. You'll be able to use this to get to specific places or to dodge enemies, or again to get a better position to confront your enemy. Also, you have another section with the grappling hook. This will allow you to be launched at specific places and enemies. So if you're trying to fight a sniper enemy or something like that, you can just grapple and then hook him, and then you will literally be launched at him. So if you have a place of getting of close ranges and things like that, you can just get close to your enemies easier than any other how. Anyway, moving on to level design, traps, obstacles, and enemies. So the level design is done in a way that you can play, as I said, taking your time, or you can build up your momentum and go fast like everywhere. So level design, all levels are gonna get harder as you move on through the game. There's gonna be a lot of traps and enemies. The difficulty within these, the traps and enemies, is gonna be basic at the beginning, but these will evolve as the difficulty does. So for example, at the beginning you will have like a turret just without one cannon and the fire rate is not that high. Imagine in level 2 now this turret has 2 different cannons So it's going to be able to shoot more projectiles at you, and the fire rate might increase. So it'll be harder of an obstacle to get through. And at the same time, you will have enemies around, and you will have to dodge specific traps. So the player is going to have to be really careful the way he moves or how he tries to approach specific areas of the game to be able to proceed, as there'll be turrets and there'll be enemies coming at you through different angles. So yeah, moving on, my schedule. So I'm just gonna get off my presentation and actually show you. For my whole project, I've been using Milanote. So the way I'm trying to schedule myself is I do a whole list of the tasks that I need to do. As you can see, tasks. I have the movement, grappling system, shooting system, and I have the different tasks. You know. Then I have the hours of time, how to differentiate how many hours it will take, like high amount of hours, low amount of hours, medium, and then specific dates that I need to have this done by. So, for example, the grappling system is still not completed. Um, Currently, I'm having some glitches, but I need to fix them for me to be on track by the January, the first or second week. So, following these different tasks, then I move to my timeline, my project timeline. So, I've created this to kind of keep track of how much time I have left to work on things, and also to see how much time I can spend on the specific areas of my game. So from this, I go to the actual week, and then this is an example of how I've been working. So I separate these by tasks during the week. So week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. And then as you can see, there are different tasks I have to complete. And yeah, each week, if I manage to do all the tasks, it kind of also helps me to give me a sense of time and how I can manage things. And every week I have to do annotation and then go back and upgrade the whole system. So yeah, I do first the list of all the things that I need to do. Then I go back to my timeline and then set all the tasks in different weeks. But yeah, next is my workflow. My workflow, as I want a low poly sort of game, I'll be using Photoshop for my textures, as it won't take that hard. It won't be that hard, as my textures won't really be that detailed. So Photoshop has all I need. Then for my modeling, I will be using Blender mainly. But if I have any issues or struggle in any aspects, I will also be able to use Maya, as I'm quite familiar with both. And for my engine, I'll be using Unity 2020.320 F1. Well, why am I using this? Well, I've used this version in the past with other similar projects to the one that I'm currently working on. And also it's a LTS version, which means long-term support. So if I have any struggles or anything, I'll be able to contact Unity and maybe get some help. And also it's a final version, meaning that it's stable and it won't get any big upgrades changing anything crucial about the engine or anything like that. And also, if it gets any updates, it's just to fix any bugs or issues. Next, help, please help. Currently, well, not currently. I will need a programmer to help me out with future errors within my code or game. I'm not great at making code. I do try my best, but some help with that, it'll be great, because I will get a lot of mistakes, and the more people can help me with it, the better. Sound designer, I will need this very importantly, as I will need help with my sounds and / music for my game. That's also going to be very important, and I'm not that experienced, so if anyone is able to help, appreciate it. And in general, I would just need people for my Q&A for my game, focusing on level design and finding out how difficult some of the obstacles will be. So this will be mainly to figure out the difficulty of specific levels and balance this out. So basically, I believe my main focus will be to do different type of prototypes with different levels. So this will help me out to put different sections for my traps, so every single level is well balanced. So one is not harder than the next one, or things like that. So I can do it like properly as a list. From the first one to the highest, the difficulty will increase. So yeah, and this is it. I almost forgot, but I have a prototype to show you guys so you get a better understanding of the game and you can get like sort of the idea better. So just if you allow me to go, um, and here it is. Boom. Welcome to my prototype. So I've made this setting sort of like inside the facility, just so you get the idea of being isolated and you know. So there will be like on the game just like little traps like this, like lava pits that you will have to dodge. You know, this is just a little introduction so you can see the movement, jumping, jumping over things, then sliding. So here, there's an introduction to the grappling mechanic, the grappling pistol that you can see on my left. So you jump, grapple, and then boom, you get to the other side. It works fine. I still have to refine it though. But yeah, just again, all the content that you're gonna see here is just so you get an idea. This is probably not gonna how it's gonna look as a final product. So, whoop. And then here we have the introduction to the wall run, where you can just jump, wall run, and then jump again, and then do the same, boom, to get to the platform. And then here we mix things up a little bit more. So now we have to wall run, jump, grapple, and then get to that platform to be able to move on forward. So we do that, nice and easy. And then wall run, and we get to the platform. Boom. Just a little nice surprise. We're going here, we have to jump on a thing. Then just grapple around. This is just so you get an idea like of the different elements that I'm gonna be mixing within the game, as like jumping, grappling, then wall running, similar things. And then this is an introduction to just like basic traps that I'm gonna be placing around the levels. So let's just go this way. And then this one is a bit trickier. Then we have the basic enemies here that are gonna be like zombies in short words. And then you are gonna have different type of guns with different damages and different ranges. So, and then this is just to give you the idea how the grappling hook is gonna work. So let's say you wanna play the game like short range, so you have the shotgun, and then you just grapple hook, and then boom, it will bring it towards the enemy, and then you can just easily kill it. And then yeah, that's pretty much it. Hope you have enjoyed my prototype, and thank you. And now we can go back to this and any questions?